Hi everybody, Cassius here, and today I'm going to do a follow-up on my previous video, beginner tanking, with a lawful good angel build. For this was 4 levels, and this is going to be the rest of the levels. This build is uh, inspired from the invincible dodge tank build that I found in the community forums, community Steam forums, by a Bavarian Bionicle. That's his name, if you want to look it up. This build is different from his in the way that it allows my character to be role played more just as a lawful good character, while his is switching between lawful to chaotic, so that way you can get some points in barbarian, some class points levels. Anyway, so this is what the build will look like. The one that I didn't include in the last one because I didn't want to go all the way up to level 5, which I probably should have, was Witch. Doesn't have to be Witch of the Veil. I chose Witch of the Veil personally, but which is the one you want to go with? Because go down to it. What Witch does is it gives you Ice Plant, which gives you +2 natural bonus to armor. And you can also choose the Lizard Familiar, which gives you an additional +1 to natural armor and +2 perception, which is nice as well. So that's right there. 1 level, 3 armor class. Very useful. In addition to that, there's a ring that you can get as soon as you enter the Tavern in Canabris. There you go. Just click on that. And there it is. Icy Protector. So where get 10 cold resist, not so big, but the big one is if you have Ice Plant Hex, you get an additional 2 bonus to your natural armor class. So if you were to take the Witch class at level 3 instead of starting the Paladin at level 3, instead of start 4 and 5 for those two, then you can get an additional 2 bonus to your natural armor class. You get 5 bonus to AC just from one class level. So you would get your charisma bonus times 2, and then 5 bonus to your AC just from your class with and a ring. Which again, by the start of the game, you'll have 5 to 6 plus bonus to your charisma. That's 15, or so a 10 to 12 plus an additional 5, and that was so 15 to 17 just without anything else. No spells, no rings of protection, no amulets of natural armor, anything. So you can get really high right at the very beginning. And then let's go back to the character and class. So the Witch is something you can take at level 3 if you want, or you can wait till level 5. It really depends if you want to focus on saves first or if you want to focus on armor class. That's entirely up to you. Afterwards, you can go one of 2 routes. You can either start on Magus Sword Saint. You're going to want to put anywhere from 5 to 7 levels into Magus Sword Saint because it gives you your, let's see, which ability is it? Forget which one it is. Ah, there it is. So you get your intelligence bonus to your armor class. And if you go with the build that I suggested initially, you'll have 14 intelligence, so enough to give you +2. But not enough to really give you a whole lot more than that. This is completely unbuffed, by the way. Oh, yes, not completely. I used the Tome of Clear Thought throughout the playthrough. But anyway, you have 14, and then with all the gear that you can get it up to 22 roughly with the 14. That way you can have +6 or 7, so 22, 24. So if you get 7 levels in here, you get an additional 7 AC. That's 7 more. So that's why you might not want to start with Magus right after right at level 6. Instead, you may want to go with something along the lines of Alchemist Vivisectionist, because you only need 2 levels in that. That way you can A, get the mutagen, very important, and B, move that mutagen onto I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm sorry. And so that way you can buff your charisma. Now, granted, this will only be for 20 minutes, so it's not a very long buff, but it's long enough to cover an area if you need to, and then rest. Or if you're just want to use it for a boss fight and give an additional 4 charisma, so an additional +4 to your AC and +4 to all your saves, or +2 to all your saves. So that's a good one to go with there. That way, after that's done, you would be level 7. This one is completely optional. Slayer you won't be used that much for the buff. You can use it, but again, not necessary. I got it here for the wooden flesh bonus. There gives you an additional 2 bonus to your natural armor class. That's, if you want to do it, get it early and use it then. But if you want to wait until like level 8 or 10, I would not say it's necessary to go in there, because at that point it's really not that big of an AC bonus. And you'll notice that we have a lot of wolf scarred face choices here. The wolf scarred face choices are for the additional bites, that way you get additional attacks. That is because we have this Smite Chaos and Smite Evil. What those will do is those will make it so you get additional armor class bonuses, and so based on your charisma. So if you use Smite Chaos and Smite Evil on a chaotic evil opponent, then you'll get, once again, all of your charisma buff to your armor class. And if you have the item on that makes it so you get a sacred bonus instead of a deflection bonus, then it's just really, really high amounts. So you get double. Or so instead of your charisma bonus, instead of counting just for double the amount for dexterity and just for the oracle, the monk class, it would count for 4 times the amount. When you cast this on them, you have +9. All of a sudden, you have +36 to your AC, which again, very, very valuable, especially once this number gets up to the +15 ranks, which I've seen in my game. So you cast Smite Evil and Smite Chaos, you go from 90 AC up to 120. It's ridiculously powerful. And if we go up here, obviously the Paladin, I mentioned that in my last video. Monk Scaled Fist. This one, again, it's not necessary. You really can just, I chose this one because I wanted to have a little more offensive capability, so I'd be able to actually hit something. Because one of the big downsides of this build is your attack bonus is low. He only got 4, well, he's fatigued, so only got 16 strength overall. He doesn't have a lot of bonus to attack. So it's making it hard for my guy to hit, especially at level 20. So the more you put into, let's say, the Slayer or the Monk Scaled Fist, the more your bonus to attack will be, which is useful. It is handy. Also, you get an additional bonus to your armor class just because, well, you're a monk, and so you naturally get armor class as you level up. But yes, definitely want to go 7 levels in Magus Sword Saint. Well, 6 or 7, so that way you can get the additional to intelligence. An alternative to the Slayer and Monk Scaled Fist, if you want to, would be Dragon Disciple. So that way you can get the stat bonuses and also the bonus to natural armor that comes with it. So that's a choice if you want to do that. But that's not how this build went. Really, this one is 1 level. If you take away the 3 levels in Monk Scaled Fist and the 2 levels from Slayer, this is a 15 level build. And then the other 5 levels are for you to do with as you please. Whatever you think is the best way to build them in terms of physical, or if you want to go pure tank, or if you want to make them a little more castery. So get a little more level in the Magus so we can get up to the 3rd or 4th level spells, then that's up to you. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you what my character looks like when he's fully buffed and when he's got full equipment on, because this is no equipment on him right now. 41 armor class, 20 stats, and so on. Okay, so now I just loaded my save, and this is right before the final fight of the game, and he's not quite fully buffed, just because he's still missing a few rounds per level buffs, but this is pretty close to fully buffed. So you can see up to 38 plus 38 attack bonus, which is pretty good. Not very useful in terms on hard or unfair difficulties, but still, it's pretty high. Stats are much higher. Got plus 32 to strength, 44 to charisma, so he's got plus 17 charisma bonus, so huge armor class. As you can see, 94 armor class, 68 flat-footed, and 64 touch. So he's even still really hard to hit flat-footed and touch. So that's impressive. And with additional buffs, I have seen this get as high as 102 on my just on the character sheet here. And when you smite evil and smite chaos on somebody, you add an additional 34 to that armor class. So it can get when I did Inevitable Excess DLC, I have seen this get up to 140 armor class. So it's practically impossible for anything to hit you, especially if you have Ember or some other shaman or witch using the protective luck buff on you because they have to roll twice. So it really is practically impossible for them to hit them. As you can see, the saves are ridiculously high, 51, 45, 48. Also, one thing that's worth noting is that if you use Smite Evil and Smite Chaos on an opponent, you add the 17 charisma to your attack and damage as well. So you add plus 34 to your attack. So all of a sudden that plus 38 turns into a 72. And he can hit anything he wants to hit, almost. Except for an unfair difficulty when a few of the things have 90 AC, I think. I think that's as high, or right around as high as it goes. But he'll basically be able to hit almost anything. And he'll do a lot of damage when he hits too. Especially considering how many attacks he's got because of all the bites he's got built into this thing. So this is what the character will look like if you go with the full tank build. You'll have limited high offensive capability, but he'll be a permanent awesome tank. So there's the build for you. If you have any questions, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear more from you. I'd love to answer anything you have. And if you would like to catch me streaming, I do stream at least Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on Twitch. And until I see you again, have a good one.